I shouldn't have walked into that room. I shouldn't have let my eyes linger, or my heart soften in ways it wasn't supposed to. But the truth is, that night changed everything, and nothing has been the same since. My name is Amelia, and this is the story I never thought I would tell. A story of love, loneliness, temptation, and choices that left scars on all of us. When I married David, I knew he came with a son from his first marriage. At the time, Ethan was 16, quiet, reserved, and awkward in that way teenagers often are. I didn't push too hard. I tried to be kind without crossing boundaries, giving him space to accept me at his pace. In those early years, things were polite, if not particularly warm. We were a family by paper, but the bond wasn't effortless. Over the years, I built a life with David, balancing work, a household, and the delicate threads of a blended family. Ethan grew into adulthood, moving between his mother's world and ours. By the time he was in college, I thought my role in his life had settled into something background, steady, quiet, a figure he could rely on but not someone who truly mattered to him. But everything shifted the year he came back home after dropping out of school. David was traveling more often for work, and I was left to manage a household that suddenly felt too full and too empty at the same time. Ethan seemed different, older, yes, but also heavier somehow, weighed down by disappointments he didn't share. I noticed the tired way he carried himself, the nights he stayed awake until dawn, the way he avoided eye contact whenever his father asked about his plans. One evening, I found him in the garage, sitting alone in the dark, his head in his hands. For a moment, I considered walking past, pretending I hadn't seen him. But something stopped me. I stepped inside, my voice soft. "Ethan, are you okay?" He looked up at me, and in his eyes I saw not the awkward teenager I once knew, but a young man broken open by the world. "I'm fine," he muttered, but the crack in his voice betrayed him. I sat beside him, careful to keep space between us. "You don't look fine," I said gently. What started as silence turned into confession. He told me about school, about feeling lost and aimless, about the weight of living up to expectations he could never meet. His father wanted success, achievement, a perfect son to match the perfect image he carried, but Ethan couldn't live up to that picture. He felt invisible, unworthy, and unbearably alone. As he spoke, I felt my heart ache for him. Here was this young man, not a child anymore, but not fully grown, searching for something to hold on to. Without thinking, I reached for his hand. He stiffened at first, then let it rest in mine. His skin was warm, trembling, and I realized just how starved he was for someone to simply listen, to simply care. That was the first moment, the moment where the ground beneath us shifted. The days that followed carried a tension I couldn't ignore. Ethan sought me out more often, helping in the kitchen, asking about my day, lingering just a little too long in doorways. I told myself it was harmless, that I was only being supportive, that this was what family was meant to be. But deep inside, a dangerous current had begun to flow. It happened one rainy night. David was away on business, and the house felt too quiet. I found Ethan in the living room, staring blankly at the television. The storm outside rattled the windows, and in the glow of the lamp, he looked so much older, so much more fragile than I wanted to admit. "Do you ever feel like you don't belong anywhere?" he asked suddenly, his voice low. The question pierced through me. "All the time," I admitted, surprising myself with the honesty. He turned to me then, and our eyes locked. The air thickened, charged with something unspoken. I should have looked away, should have broken the moment, but I didn't. I let it hold me, pull me deeper. When his hand brushed against mine, I gasped softly, every nerve in my body alive with warning and desire. I should have pulled back. I should have remembered the roles we were meant to play. But I didn't. My hand stayed where it was, trembling but unmoving. He leaned closer, his breath warm against my skin. "Amelia," he whispered, and the sound of my name on his lips broke the last of my defenses. His lips touched mine, hesitant at first, then hungrier when I didn't stop him. I let it happen. That night, we crossed into territory we could never return from. It wasn't just a kiss, it wasn't just comfort. It was passion, raw and desperate, filling the hollow spaces we both carried inside. I held him, touched him, let him see parts of me no one had seen in years. In his arms, I felt wanted, alive, reckless. But when the morning light broke through the curtains, reality came crashing down. The guilt was suffocating. I avoided his eyes at breakfast, my hands shaking as I poured coffee. He said nothing, but the silence between us was louder than words. And yet, it didn't end there. The more I tried to push him away, the more I found myself drawn back. We stole moments in the quiet of the house, whispered confessions in the dark, touches that lingered too long. Every time, I promised myself it was the last, and every time, I broke that promise. David never suspected. He was too consumed by his work, too blind to see what was unraveling in his own home. That only made the guilt worse, but it didn't stop me. I was trapped between two worlds, the woman I was supposed to be and the woman Ethan made me feel like I could be. Months passed, and the secret grew heavier. Ethan's feelings deepened, and mine did too, though I fought to deny them. One night, after we had given in again to the pull neither of us could resist, he whispered, "I don't want to hide anymore." The words froze me, because as much as I cared for him, as much as I wanted him, I knew the truth. What we were doing could never survive in the light of day. I pulled away, tears burning my eyes. "We can't, Ethan. This will destroy everything." But even as I said it, my body ached for him, my heart breaking at the thought of letting go. Eventually, the weight of it all became too much. I ended it, or at least, I told myself I did. I avoided him, kept my distance, locked my heart away again. He was hurt, angry, but he didn't fight me. Maybe he knew, deep down, that I was right. David and I are still together, our marriage intact on the surface. But nothing inside me is the same. Some nights, I lie awake remembering the way Ethan looked at me, the way his touch set me on fire, the way I gasped and didn't pull away. I wonder if he still thinks of me, if he hates me, if he ever understood that I was as lost as he was. This is my truth, my confession, my burden. And I ask myself, even now, even after everything, was it love, or was it loneliness wearing love's disguise? And if you were me, what would you have done?